Hey there, boys and girls. We are bringing it home today, at least for chapter 3. This is Tsufit, and I'm going to be reading to you chapter 3, the last part of chapter 3, part 7 of my award-winning book, Step into the Spotlight, A Guide to Getting Noticed, starting on page 85, and it's called Continuity, Guardian of the Brand. On the set of any film or TV show, there's a person whose job is simply called continuity. It's her job to take Polaroids of all the actors and the sets between every take and before every take and make sure that if the guy's shirt was tucked in on take 2, that the guy's shirt is still tucked in on take 3. And we've all seen movies where this is not the case. This allows the editors to piece together the movie without inconsistencies, right? It's so weird when you watch movies and, you know, the guy's sleeves are rolled up in one scene and then they edit in something else and his sleeves are rolled down. We notice this a lot more than you think. Businesses need a continuity department. Even the most loyal audience won't hesitate to alert you to a continuity problem by not buying your product, as Coke found out to great expense. You need continuity in how you look, in your printed materials, in your website, in what you say in public, and sometimes even what you think in private. It's impossible to develop a public persona without some kind of continuity, without giving the audience some clues about you so they know how to remember you. Have you ever seen a really small news item on the internet, like 50-year Hollywood veteran dies, and you check out the article and you're wondering who it is, and you see the name and you don't recognize it, even after they give you a list of movies that the person's played in. Guy's been in 603 movies. They say his name, but you don't recognize his face. Queen Latifah, Billy Crystal, Hugh Grant, Robert De Niro, each of them carved out a persona so we know what to expect. If you see the name Will Ferrell attached to a movie, you know it's going to be a stupid movie, right? If no offense to Will Ferrell fans, if Ben Kingsley's in it, he was in Gandhi, it's going to be an epic. I saw him in a one-man show in London many years ago. Even Madonna's carved out a persona as an iconoclastic vixen. Nowadays, who would it be? I don't know, Katy Perry, Taylor Swift. What we expect from her is to be surprised. We expect the unexpected. Playing against type. Your persona doesn't have to be one-dimensional. Action heroes, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Vin Diesel, Sylvester Stallone, have all made big bucks on tough guy makes nice movies, right? Where they show us their softer sides. These movies have a huge appeal for the same reason that behind the scenes shows are so popular, and shows and magazines like People are so popular, because it's really always fantastic to learn something else about a person you thought you knew. But note that you can't intrigue people by playing against type unless you've got a type, unless you've firmly established your type, right? Before you commit to a persona for yourself and your company, make sure it fits you, because you're going to be playing it for a long time. Make sure it fits you and then play it for all it's worth, on screen and off. In Woody Allen's film, The Purple Rose of Cairo, Jeff Daniels plays a character who steps in and out of the movie screen. The key to making that a smooth transition is that your on-screen persona has to be rooted in your real persona. It has to be authentic and only just kicked up a notch and accentuated so people can see it. In show business, an actor or a singer's on-stage persona is often vastly different than off-stage. I just saw Mick Jagger the other day being interviewed about the difference between on-stage persona and off-stage persona. I once saw Tina Turner being interviewed on TV. The woman conducts herself like a well-dressed, well-bred, conservative head of the local PTA, right? She could have easily had tea and crumpets with Hillary Clinton or the Queen of England, but on stage, she's a vamp, right? This doesn't work well in business. In business, you'd be considered a fake. So find a persona for yourself and your business that stems from something truly authentic in you, and make that your screen persona. This will make it so much easier for you to step into the spotlight, and it won't feel like an unnatural step. Ben and Jerry's did this beautifully. Two non-athletic types, they described themselves as the whitest in their gym class. They decide to go into the ice cream business. The bagel machinery was too expensive, that's what they said, and change the face of capitalism. Their business became an arena for implementation of their social values. Now, since then, as far as I understand, Ben & Jerry's has been acquired and it doesn't represent their values, and trouble ensued. Do play what your audience wants to hear. Do you or don't you? Well, in the music industry, there are all sorts of books on how to write a hit song. Between verse, chorus, bridge, what do you get? How do you get yourself a hit? That's the question. Musicians study these books in the hopes of writing their next smash hit song. Only the next hit usually comes from left field. Something we've never heard of, something we're not expecting, someone doing his or her own thing. It's the same in the publishing industry, and it's the same in the movie industry. Do you want to follow a formula and throw your hat in the ring with thousands of others? Or do you want to take the risk of dancing to your own drum? Not always an easy question to answer. On the one hand, you don't want to alienate your audience. I get that. I remember an episode of The Apprentice in which he, who shall not be named, fired a project manager mainly because her team hired an inappropriate comedian for the event. On the other hand, it reminds me of events where I was the inappropriate comedian, right? This is what John Stuart Mill, a philosopher, said: that so few now dare to be eccentric marks the chief danger of the time. We all have to decide, do we want to be the appropriate for the event person, or do we want to get known for what we do and let the appropriate events for us find us? Would we still know Lenny Bruce's name if he had been, quote unquote, appropriate for the event? Given the choice and who we are, I choose to sing my song and let my audience find me. Frank Giblin said, "Be yourself. Who else is better qualified?" When I started my coaching practice, I really didn't fit in at the events that I attended. There's an understatement. But I resisted the pressure to conform, and that's why my business succeeded. The crazy part of this whole thing is I now get testimonial letters, even from non-clients, who say they've improved their performances just by observing me at the networking events. If you are different, vive la différence. If there are no real differences between you and your competition, create some. Create and craft a unique character for you, for your business, a persona based on who you really are, so that you'll be seen, so that you'll be heard, so that you'll be remembered. Give your audience something to hang on to. And once you know you're being seen, you've got to make sure that you are being heard. And we're going to talk all about being heard in Chapter 4 of Step into the Spotlight. Can you believe it? We're finally finished Chapter 3. That was a long-ass chapter. Okay. Chapter 3 was about branding, about your persona, about who you are and what you want to be known for and being authentic. That was Chapter 3. Chapter 4 coming up in our next, by the way, I ended that on page 89, just so you know, if you're keeping track, if you're following along. I will start Chapter 4 on page 91 in our next episode. And Chapter 4 is all about being heard. Very, very important, how to be heard, whether it's in 30 seconds or longer. In the meantime, I'm Tsufit. This is Step into the Spotlight. If you want your very own personal copy of Step into the Spotlight, a hardcover edition, you will find how to get it in the show notes. You can buy them individually, or you can buy them in cases of 20. Until our next episode, I'm Tsufit, and I will see you in the Spotlight.